There's Miss Angie, Martin, and so many more in town. We did a food drive for the first time in the sheriff's office last week. Mark got pretty well, he'll finish it up. I got somewhere else I'm going to run. I just want to know without y'all helping, it wouldn't have been a success. And, it was around 135 deals doing out. What we didn't give out, in the police department, Miss Angie, police department. A lot of volunteers coming, and we got this out, not only in the county, but the state. And I hope you get this, I'd like to try to do this across the month. On that. But it was a big success. We got some cards, we got a lot of calls. And I just want to know what my appreciate y'all's help. And we hope to do it more. And again, thank you. On my pro card, got the red one, so I'm going to give it out of that. So, do thank y'all for helping.
And we appreciate what you do as far as doing that. I get to receive a lot of compliments. It was very appreciated. There are people in our community that need that, so I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor. Y'all have a blessed night.
You have a good night.
Yes, sir.
We have Brother Charles Thornburg here. He's going to be offering up prayer as well as speaking on behalf of the Bethesda Mission. Brother Charles Thornburg will be taking over the Bethesda Mission as the director here in the next few months, it's my understanding. And so if you'd like to say prayer, and then if you'd also like to comment about the mission at your food drive or anything, that would be fine also.
Okay. I do appreciate the opportunity to offer this prayer, and of course to be with my fellow citizens and give your time. And just want to offer a prayer of blessing, and then I'll share a couple things about the mission and the change that we're making. Lord Jesus, we do approach your throne, and I thank you, God, for each one that is giving of their time and their resources. Lord, we know we all are in a very busy time and season, so we just ask you to guide us, to give us direction, give us all deliberate intention, and we just pray that you continue to bless our community, continue to keep us safe, and continue to increase, Lord, for so many that are suffering and struggling, even in the midst of all the things that are going on, all the government help, Lord, there's still those that are hungry and are facing homelessness. So we ask you, Lord, all of this blessing over this time in this meeting. In your name we pray, Jesus. Amen. Excuse me. I was trying to use my prayer voice, and it makes me cough sometimes. So yes, Brother Neil approached me, and of course, he's had a lot of different things go on in his private life and personal life, and just needed some time to slow down. And so he approached me about possibly taking over the position. And so I did meet with the board of directors for Bethesda Mission, and I actually did almost the identical ministry over in Gainesville, Georgia, with the community churches. We did over $100,000 in assistance each year, so it was actually a little bigger ministry. So anyway, it was just a natural fit. Timing seemed to be perfect. So just sharing my heart. This is something that is such a need, and I'll give you a real quick story. The other day, we were helping a mother and her two children, and of course, they were saying how hungry they were, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm hungry too. I hadn't eaten since breakfast," just joking around. But I noticed after I took their food box out to the car, and I was helping another car next to them, they immediately were pulling food out of the bags and just hand over fist, eating as fast as they could. And I thought, even in our country, there are people who are hungry, and I'm so glad for what Sheriff Suggs and the department just recently did. Of course, we helped them in obtaining a lot of that food. There's such a need. Even, you think, oh, well, what about stimulus money? What about triple food stamps? Yes, those things have taken place, but there's going to come a day when that's going to bottom out. our government can't keep doing that on and on. So we're trying to continue to get ourselves in a place to be able to handle the need. Our shelves are pretty empty right now. Matter of fact, if you got any cereal or box dinners or anything like that, we certainly could use them. But as far as food drive, I talked with Jim Bowers a couple days ago, and the post office is not going to do the mail carrier drive again because of the parade being on that day. So, we've been kind of just banging our heads back together, trying to figure out, well, what can we do? Because we didn't have the Easter sunrise service. That's where we usually collect a fairly large offering. We didn't have Thanksgiving. So what can we do? And one thing that was mentioned about possibly having a vehicle, a truck, or some type of float in the parade itself. I don't know how we would get that word out or how we could make it where people would say, okay, while I'm getting all this free candy and things from the parade, I could put that in the truck or some way, or have people in carts going up and down the street. I'm not sure. We're just now starting to try to figure something out. So if you have some ideas that maybe we could partner together as a community, that would be fantastic. But there definitely still is a need in our community. I mean, we did quite a few assistances last week and this week, and even food boxes. Even with all the food boxes that were done at the sheriff's department, we still had a pretty high week. We were wondering how that would work out, but there were people that weren't able to make it to that came, and we were able to help them. So we work great together as a community. I know this council and of course Mayor Paul, and I believe we can continue to do that. Brother Neil will transition out probably over the next couple months. He's been given up to 3 months if he feels it's necessary, but he's kind of like, once you figure it out, I'm going to retire. So, but he's been helping. We've been trying to go places together, and just let everybody know it's not a thing of I'm taking over, but I just hopefully, I can't fill his shoes, not really, but I certainly want to do all I can to continue the vision and to help our residents and our communities.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I don't want to dwell on it, but I did talk to Brother Neil, and normally they raise about 5,000 pounds of food during the mail drive food. I did speak with the chamber last week. The chamber will be meeting again on April 15th at noon. I would invite you to come to that meeting because I've asked them to provide some ideas. We did have the president of the chamber here tonight. Just happens to be on council this year, or this for her time as the chamber president. So anyway, if you would like to come to that meeting, we're going to try to have some ideas together for that. So, and I would encourage any ideas that you have. And as I told Brother Neil, we may not be able to do it that day, but I think we could do a few events and at least have as much or possibly more. So either Alderman, if y'all have any ideas, you're welcome to bring them to us. We would like to help the commission out with that. Yes, sir.
I got an idea, right, just come to me, I'll forget it before I walk in the door. Tell somebody, we have a booth with many people out of town. We have a booth set up to sell goods to people out of town so they can put on a truck or whatever. You sold it, then you're gonna get food back. So that would be a real good way to let some of these people out of town to take part in, and it's a no-win situation.
That would be an idea, or get with someone. We need to be looking at some ideas, and we will be. But I'm sure that we have some very giving people in our community, and I think we're a community that is very concerned, and I think we can come up with some good ideas so that we at least meet or exceed what you would have normally done, and that's our goal. Like I say, I think we need to work on that, and if we'll come to the next chamber meeting, I think we'll have enough time for us to talk together also. Moving on, we're calling to order the beer board meeting.
Here, Alderman Lincoln. Here. Alderman Baggett.
Here.
Alderman Parchman.
Here.
Alderman Warren.
Here.
Alderman Gooden.
Here.
Alderman Parson.
Here.
Mayor Bailey.
Here.
Mr. Satan.
Here. All right. This, Beer Board meeting is to approve or disapprove, the permit concerning the Houston County Fair Board. They're asking for two permits. One will be a Purdue Acoustics property, which is the fairground property. That will be for a special events permit, which helps them raise money. They are also requesting to do a beer garden in the park, which will be right behind us, kind of where the, basketball goal is. So, Chief Moore is here. He's performed a background check. Do you have any comments, Chief Moore?
Mayor, running their background their CBI, I don't think there's anything on the criminal history that's going to come back to the victim. They saw them.
Thank you, sir. As I said, these would be for a special event permit, which would help them be a fundraiser for the two premises that we mentioned. Are there any questions or comments?
So, you say we approve this for this special permit.
We did do it last year, and of course, everything got canceled, but we did do it last year, and they've had the one at Purdue Acoustics Fairgrounds several years. The one back here was, first year, last year, it was approved, but then the event was canceled due to COVID. But I mean, it was approved last year. And the notice was put in the paper, it was advertised to be at this meeting, so there has been a notice put in the paper. It was in Friday's paper. I have a copy of the notice. I don't see anyone in the audience that would have a comment, I don't think. With that in mind, is there any comments, questions, or is there a motion by the Beer Board to put this to the board? We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed?
I'm just curious if it's going to be a trailer, truck, or
I
a tent.
believe it will be
It's a trailer.
Yeah, it's a trailer.
Be a trailer, yeah.
Okay. And so, okay. All right, if there was a motion and a second, this will go to the regular board. All right. So I'm going to close the beer board meeting, and I'm going to call the order of the regular board meeting. Since everyone that was in the beer board is present at the regular board meeting, I'm going to go with the roll call we just had, so I'm not going to do roll call again. I would ask if there's a motion to approve the March minutes. You've been provided a copy of those. Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. As y'all are aware, the Irish celebration, of course, is set to go on. We're making arrangements. The chamber, as well as other members of the community, other groups are meeting, and they're working very diligently on that. We hope to have a very successful year. I think it will be good for the community. I think our community needs this. I mean, I do understand the COVID, and I would encourage you to take precautions. And if you have any concerns, I have been notified that the health department has a list. They will put people on it, and you do not have to necessarily be 60 years old. If you just feel like you would like to be on that list, they will put you on that list. There are times when they have, after they open a packet, they only have so long to use the vaccine. So there are times when you could get a call. So if you would like to be on that list, I would strongly encourage you, if you know someone put your name on the list. They can call you if you know, anyone that feels like they're at risk and would like to be on there, I would encourage you to do that. I will say though, economically and just the like groups like the rec club, they do their uh, fundraisers and things for scholarships. We have different groups. The chamber does things, and I think that things are getting better. Like I say, I want to encourage people to continue to be safe, but I do feel like this will be good to have the Irish celebration to go on, and so at this time that is the plan. We have also been provided a list of updates, which includes several things on it. If you have any questions about it, I would encourage you to get with us and ask any questions you would like. Mr. Poole, I'm going to kind of go out of order. I'm just going to hit some highlights. Mr. Poole came last Thursday. He's the CPA that's hired to perform the audit report for the city, and there are some bullet points in there about the audit report. But the one thing is, Mr. Poole did not find any concerns, did not find anything to report, and he said Angie Nielsen and Cheryl Hollis do a good job for the city of Erin. So I guess he was giving them a pat on the back, which they do, as well as I would like to say that our all of our department heads, our people, I do feel like do a very good job of trying to make sure that the city of Erin money is spent wisely. So I do appreciate all that our department heads, as well as anyone with the city of Erin does, but he did not have any findings to report, so I do believe that is great. But there are several bullet points if you would like to look at that as far as the audit report. Okay. And so each of y'all have a copy of the audit report. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact us, come by, and we will do our best to answer any questions that you have. One other thing, I don't think it's in your copy, but I wanted to mention, on the wastewater treatment plant, this has been an ongoing process. They are getting ready to start. They'll have a start date of either the 12th or the 19th. We're not quite sure yet, but we're getting close. They've already moved some equipment in. I think they'll get started on the 12th. They've already moved some equipment, some supplies, some forms they're moving in to start this project. So I believe we're on track to get started. As y'all are aware of, I'm sure the amount that bids came at was more than was originally thought when we started this whole process. It is a grant loan process. We have spoken to rural development, and of course the additional funding will be needed to complete the project, but they have assured us that we will be able to seek the additional funding from rural development, and it will be just like the other, where it will be a loan grant combination. So it'll be kind of right in line with what we've got. It will just be for that extra amount that's necessary, where it costs more than what we originally thought. Of course, everything is continually going up, as y'all are aware. So if we would have waited another year, it probably would have went up a bunch more. But and like I say, I would encourage you to look at these updates. If you have any questions, just feel free to ask. But there's several things on here. I do think that the things that we have going on right now are progressing well. So, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. We did not have a planning commission meeting last month. We will be having one this month. We have some business to go before the planning commission, and probably will go to the board of zoning appeals after that. Under new business, the beer board meeting was just held. Y'all were here for the beer board meeting. If you have any questions, I do apologize. I forgot to mention that Jason Smith, who has requested the beer permit on behalf of the fair board, is in our presence. So if you have any questions, you can ask Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Chief Moore, in police report, and also if you could fill in just a few of the details that the sheriff was not able to do, that would be great.
Yes, sir, for the month of March, police department answered a total of 295 calls for service, 56 citations. We had 2 done on the vote, aggravated criminal trespass, assault, 2 driving under the influence, 1 improper consent law, 1 theft, 1,000, 10,000. Misuse of registration, 2 criminal trespass, 6 child abuse and neglect, 2 resisting arrest, 2 disorderly conduct, 1 forgetting theft. 3 alteration of firearms serial numbers, 3 possession of firearms during felony, 5 drug paraphernalia, 2 simple possession of marijuana, 1 possession of marijuana for resale in drug-free school zone, 3 sale of schedule 2 drugs in a drug-free school zone, 3 sale of schedule 3 drugs in a drug-free school zone, 3 sale of leaded drugs in a drug-free school zone, 3 possession of methamphetamine, and 1 possession of heroin. We also issued 14 citations for illegal arrest for 3 accidents. We, like the sheriff was saying, myself, a couple of the police department, mayor, and Miss Angie, the assistant to the county, county sheriff's office out of their facility with food drive. I think it was roughly 147 food boxes that we gave away that morning. After the traffic slowed, we loaded up patrol cars and then we got community. Those that we broke. So all in all, it went really well. We've also acquired a John Deere Gator generator, a Ford F-150 pickup truck. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, we have a copy of the City of Aaron Fire Department report. The City of Aaron Fire Department responded with 7 wrecks, 3 structure fires, 1 brush fire, 3 fire alarms, 2 landing zone setups, and 1 special rescue. 3 municipal burn permit applications were received. The station was staffed during our inclement weather events this last month. We have been preparing for our ISO grading that will take place on April 7th. Our 3 fire-rated pumping apparatus were pump tested. The vendor conducted pump tests stated they will no longer certify pump tests on engine 4 after this year, so that we may need to consider that. This year, that engine is 30 years old and will have reached the end of service status for pumping apparatus. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. And both of our departments, police and fire, have been rather busy this month. Are there any questions about that? Any questions, Chief Moore? I forgot to answer. But it has been busy this month. And with that in mind, continuing on to busy, it's getting budget time. So with that in mind, on our budget committee, of course, keep in mind that anybody that would like to attend the budget meetings are welcome to come. On the budget committee meeting, or budget committee, is BJ Gooden, Jack Parchman, Cecil Baggett, and Lisa Moore. With that in mind, Angie and I have spoken, and we would like to set a budget committee meeting for this Thursday, which will be April 8th. I would just ask, would a day meeting or an evening meeting work better for y'all? It does not matter to me. We can do 1 o'clock, or 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. So
I got Zoom meetings, so.
with a 4 or a
A
5,
4 would be okay.
4 o'clock. Is there anyone else that would have a preference? Would 4 o'clock this Thursday, April 8th work? And so what I have in mind is we're going to do at least a couple meetings, so I would like to do one on the 8th, and then the 15th, which would be next Thursday, and then possibly the 22nd. They'll each be on Thursday. Let me make sure I have these right, I wrote them down. Yes, the 8th, 15th, and 22nd is what we're thinking. Is it 8th, 15th, and 22nd? That's what we're thinking, but they're each on Thursday, and so at this time, giving the, what people are saying, we'll do them at 4 o'clock.
We're not have the academic banquet on the 22nd.
We'll have to do something different, I forgot about that.
It's a
We'll have to do something different. But we might do the 8th, 15th, and then the 29th, I forgot about the 29th will be our regular work session, so. Yes, if we could do, let's plan on the 8th and the 15th. We'll do the 8th at 4, and the 15th we'll do it 4. We may have to back the time up on the 22nd, because I would like to have something to present at our work session on the 29th. And keeping in mind that the following week will not only be our regular meeting, but we'll also, at the time we're having our meeting, there'll be a band on the square.
Yes.
And the kickoff for the Irish celebration will be on the Friday after our work session. So we're going to have a busy next few weeks.
Pageants actually start this weekend.
Yes, pageants are already starting this weekend, so it's going to be busy for us. But keep in mind, we have to pass our budget on 2 readings. So if we pass it in May and June, then we're ready for July. It's when it would go into effect. So that's the thought process. I mean, we'll see how it goes when we're doing our budget meetings. But anyway, if there's no objections, we will do our first budget meeting this Thursday, April 8th at 4 p.m. here in City Hall. And like I say, I have 4 members on the budget committee, but any of y'all are welcome to come. If you have any ideas or thoughts, you're welcome to present them. Are there any questions about that? If there are no questions, I don't think I've overlooked anything. Is there a motion to adjourn? Oh. Let me read this first. This is a public notice beginning April 12th. The COVID testing and vaccination location will be moved to 5200 East Main Street in Erin, which is the old dollar store. Testing times will be Tuesday and Thursday from 8:30 to 10:30 a.m. and Monday, Wednesday, Friday, COVID self-test will be given. Also, COVID vaccinations will be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 12:30 to 4 p.m. and Tuesday, 12:30 to 7 p.m. Appointments are required for testing and vaccinations. So this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. If you'll get your name put on the list, they are ramping up the vaccinations. It's my understanding that the National Guard will be assisting those at the health department at these times. But you can go to the old dollar store and, like I say, just get your name on the list. They will be doing this. If you have any questions, feel free to call the health department, or if you have a question about times, we will have this so that the city of Erin can tell you the times. But just keep that in mind. Are there any other questions, comments? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion, we have a second. I know everyone's in favor. I do appreciate y'all coming out tonight. I appreciate what y'all do for the city of Erin. this community. Thank y'all so much.